Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Horns Report here on KXAN Plus. I'm your host, Billy Gates, and we've got a ton of basketball stuff for you today. And it's that time of year where all these sports are starting to cross over. We're in the thick of hoops, getting toward the end of the regular season, and baseball and softball are all starting up. And here to talk about it all, KXAN Sports Director Roger Wallace. And Roger, you've had an interesting past few days.
Yeah.
You were on the road with the Longhorn women's basketball team. And they've had kind of like a tale of two games, as the cliche goes. They lose by 16 to Vanderbilt in Nashville on Thursday. Vic Schaefer had some choice words to say, questioning his team's effort and heart after that game. And then they bounced back on Sunday, beat a really good Tennessee team by 2 at their place. Roger, just kind of what did you take away from these past few days with the team?
Yeah, the Vanderbilt game was one you just didn't expect. Now, if you had told me Texas goes in and lose to Vanderbilt, a top 5 team, okay, I can see that. They're really good. They're really good offensively. They've got those 2 outstanding guards, Michaela Blakes. What you don't expect from a Vic Schaefer team, and history will tell you don't expect it, to be down by 26 points in the third quarter. And that's what got him upset, is the way they got down. They were up 7-4, and they were down 27-15 in after the first quarter. So you can tell right by that they just totally got the script flipped, and it was effort. It was heart that he was upset about. Shots are going to not fall. Shots are going to go in for the other team. They had a really good offensive game against Texas, but it was, the 50-50 balls. Getting back on defense in transition and just kind of the demeanor of the team that led to the comments he made. And then you turn around, they came home, they didn't stay on the road, go back to Tennessee, at Tennessee in front of nearly 14,000 on Sunday, jump out to the 14-point lead in the first half. It's gone. Halftime, it's tied. Get a 10-point lead pretty late in the third, and all of a sudden Tennessee hits 3 threes in a row. Yeah. It's a 1-point game. And then all of a sudden it becomes, a dogfight, and the Longhorns made enough plays defensively. They end the game with a steal. Brianna Preston steals it from Talasia Cooper to try to – I thought maybe they would just, figure, let's put up another 3. The 3's got us back into it and try to win it. They wanted to drive it and create something or get a foul, and Preston got her hand in there and got the steal, and they won. And obviously a much different Vic Schaefer after that ball game. And, he's, as he says, he doesn't apologize for the way he coaches, or,
sure.
He'll shoot straight from the hip. And the amazing part in this day and age, Billy, is that's a gamble for coaches, because
it is.
All these kids are on 1-year deals. And if they don't like the way they're being coached and they get somebody in their ear, they just go try to find a different place to play. So paid off, because they bounced back, didn't play great, especially offensively. But they got another top 20 win, and AP poll doesn't mean anything, but they are number 4.
Sure.
So they didn't move. That reveal. Here's a funny story for you. On Saturday night, the team meal is in a room, and the TV's on. And I'm telling you, Billy, the second they walked in was the LSU South Carolina game, the top 16 reveal.
Right.
And it was the reveal for number 4.
Mm-hmm.
That was Vanderbilt. So they show Vanderbilt number 4, which is the 4th number 1 seed, and immediately go into highlights of their win over Texas. And all these Texas players are watching, going, "What? We walk in, and this is what we're going to have to see."
That's brutal.
So they saw that, and then they did something about it on Sunday.
Yeah, they did, and it was quite the turnaround. And you go back to Vic saying that he's not going to apologize for the way he coaches, and he shouldn't, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, you and I both see that old school style in Vic, and like we know that the modern player, the new player in the NIL era, can just bolt whenever they really feel like they want to. But I just feel like Vic's style resonates with this team, and obviously there's something to that, because he got them to play so much better against Tennessee, and going into Knoxville and winning anything is hard to do.
Yeah, regardless of what happened against Tennessee, that's a separate tough game. That's a Tennessee team.
Yeah.
They got the beat down against South Carolina. Their coach, Kim Caldwell, called her team out, and they respond with a win over Missouri by 40+. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden they're feeling a little better about themselves. And then these two coaches that have both been on that side of it in the last week get together, and they visited before the game, and I'm sure they talked about you know how you handle things in this day and age.
Yeah.
And then Texas found a way to win. Their chances of winning the SEC regular season are pretty slim.
Sure.
I don't see where South Carolina's going to lose twice.
No.
But there's the double bye where they could be on the outside looking into that double bye in the SEC tournament if they had lost to Tennessee after the loss to Vanderbilt. So and there's the overall seeding in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a huge bounce back win. And now I'm not going to say it's an easier part of the schedule, but I think you would look at the rest of their games and say, well, we expect them to win. Now, we saw some surprises over the weekend. So.
Sure. Yeah. There's always surprises in the SEC. So the women's team, they're 24-3, 9-3 overall, or 9-3 in the SEC, excuse me. And they have to go to Fayetteville on Thursday. That is the makeup game from January 26th, the weather postponement. So it's their third consecutive road game. Not ideal, but that's just how it worked. And then they'll come back home, play Mississippi State on February 22nd, Georgia, February 26th here in town at Moody, and then they'll end the regular season March 1st in Tuscaloosa against Alabama. Just for context, like we had said, or like you had said earlier, Roger, this is the easier part of their schedule. Arkansas hasn't won a game yet in SEC play.
Yeah,
so.
and that's the makeup, so that's why they're playing. This was supposed to be their open week from a midweek game.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you go handle your business there, and then you come home from Mississippi State on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's weird the way that schedule ends. They play a 9:00 game local time against Georgia, and turn around and play 11 a.m. in Tuscaloosa on that Sunday on the last day of the regular season.
Oh, yep, there it is. Yeah,
but yeah, and I'm sure Vic Schaefer is on edge right now about all of a sudden feeling too good about themselves. That's kind of one of our themes with Sean Miller. But they'll get today off. I'm sure they got today, Monday off, and then they'll go to work, back to work Tuesday, travel on Wednesday, and see if they can take care of business. Of course, Vic Schaefer's got a lot of history there. Not only was he an assistant coach there, that's where his wife Holly's from, so that'll be always special to go back to Arkansas for him and his family. Yeah.
And I accidentally glossed over this. We have Vic from after the Tennessee game talking about how his team bounced back from that Vanderbilt loss to the win against Tennessee. So here's Vic talking about how his team responded to that loss to Vanderbilt. So here he is.
Just what a heck of a game. Feel a lot of pride for my team. Love how they responded today against a really good Tennessee team. I think Coach is doing a great job with that group. And every time you come here, I've been coming here now came here from 97 to 2003 with Arkansas. Then I went up to Mississippi State, and I was here from 12 to 20. Every time you play this team, it's always like a bunch of WNBA players out there. They're just so much size, athleticism. They're physical, and I just thought our kids today were really, really tough. I'm really proud of them. They've really responded, and again, this league is very, very difficult. I was talking to CP earlier, and she's like, man, this is a hard place to play. I've been coming here 38 years, and I'm like, I've experienced it. And so just, again, for my kids, obviously, to play like we played to me today with the toughness that I like to see after our not so good night on Thursday, I'm really, really proud of my team. So again, it's always good to win on the road. We'll give God the glory for number 24 and get home, and then we got to go back on the road again. So that'll be 3 straight. Well, I think for us, we just had so many monsters back to back to back. I mean, every game we've played now for 4 or 5 straight is top 25 or top 10, and I just, it's been my experience, whether they're top 10, top 50, top 100, you have to approach everybody the same. Everybody deserves equal respect. I thought our last 2 days in the gym practicing were really good. I loved our leadership. Booker's voice Something that we really, really need was very, very clear and evident in the gym beginning on Friday in practice. Jordan is always kind of that communicator on the floor, especially defensively. And I was going to ride Rory today for 40 if I needed to. I felt like I needed to get her out a little bit because I thought she got tired. But I was prepared to ride Rory for 40 today because I just had that much confidence in her. So, you know, this time of year, it is the grind, and you have to embrace it. You know, we have a shirt that says you got to get past hard. And, you know, I think that's the thing that's really hard for coaches is teaching kids how to get past hard.
So yeah, that last part of his comments, Roger, is kind of where I'm at. I mean, when you are in sort of the situation where you go out, lay an egg, which is what they did in Vanderbilt, that's where you see the mettle of your team. That's where you see them, you know, like how are they going to get back up after they get knocked down, punched in the face, whatever cliche you want to use there. And I just thought that last part where he's talking about Jordan Lee, Madison Booker, Rory Harmon, really getting the team together and be like, hey, like we got to fix this. I think that kind of shows you what kind of team this Texas team is.
Yeah, and it also, this whole situation with the 3-day stretch or 4-day stretch tells you where the program is, where a lot of teams go on the road and they get beat and they get beat bad and they, you know, they lick their wounds and they go home, they go to work, but it just hasn't happened under Vic Schaefer, especially after his first year. And so, you know, it was a little bit different of an approach compared to a tough loss at South Carolina, a 2-possession game there, 1 or 2 possession game at LSU. This was a whole different ball game. But I thought it was funny. He said he was going to ride Rory for 40, but needed to give her a break. Madison Booker sat out about 10 minutes for a stretch. Now, what he did is he put Harmon and Brianna Preston on that last possession. So you lose some size, but what happens? Harmon bodied up Cooper, and then Preston helped and got the steal. So that move paid off. But yeah, I mean, you know, not so good performance against Vanderbilt. He kind of sugarcoated that after the way it was. But yeah, it was just a really good win, regardless of what happened on Thursday. And now they go back to work at Arkansas. Yep.
That'll be 6:30 Central there in Fayetteville. That'll be on the SEC Network Plus. So that's just streaming. Obviously, Arkansas being 0-11 probably has something to do with that too.
Well, and it's an added game.
Yeah, and it is an added game. You're right. How dare I? So yeah, let's move over to men's basketball. They've won 4 in a row, Roger, and they look more like a NCAA tournament team every game, and that's something that we probably couldn't have said about them a month and a half ago. They beat where am I at here? They're 16-9, 7-5 overall, and they just beat Missouri on the road, 85-68.
Yeah.
Dalen Swain, one of the SEC Players of the Week for his performance. He's playing as good as anybody in the SEC right now, and Matas Vokatitis is also playing tremendous. They're going to need those two guys if they want to have any chance at all to punch their ticket to the big dance.
We're sitting here when they're 0-2 in conference going, okay, where are the 6, 7, 8 conference wins going to come to give them a fighting chance? Now, how about this? The last time Texas men won 4 straight conference games was the 1920 season that ended at the Big 12 tournament with COVID, and they never got to play that Big 12 tournament game against Texas Tech. They won 4 straight before losing their last regular season game to Oklahoma State. That's the last time they've won 4 straight conference games. So, you know, Sean Miller talked about 3, how big that was. You get 4, you get LSU on Tuesday. Again, it's a team that's dangerous. They played Tennessee close, but they do have a losing record. And if Texas takes care of their business, now all of a sudden you're kind of elevating yourself in the standings where they're one of 7 teams with either 4 or 5 conference losses in a 3rd, 4th place situation. So they can put themselves in a pretty advantageous situation for the SEC tournament as well as the NCAA tournament. But I don't think the margin for error is good enough for us to sit here and think that, you know, roll the ball out and all's good. And then they have to turn around. They have to go back on the road this weekend to Georgia, who's
Yeah.
going to be a little irritated after what Texas did to them
Yeah.
last time out.
Yeah, and especially going into Athens after this LSU game, that's always tough. They get LSU at home. They're 11-3 at Moody Center, so you have to feel good if you're a Texas fan. Maybe Sean Miller, just like the way your team's playing, got to feel good about this. But as you said, LSU is a dangerous team, and they can always be right there with you, especially if the guys come out and kind of rest on their laurels a little bit. But just the way they've been playing, man. I mean, you beat Oklahoma at their place by 10, beat South Carolina at home by 9, and then blow out Ole Miss and Missouri. They're looking really, really solid at this point.
And the home has been tricky though. Because
Sure.
they lose to Mississippi State at home, they lose to the Aggies at home, and they go on the road. The only game they just kind of got beat up on was the Tennessee game. They were in the other games, so home is where it seems like so far they've had a little bit more of these lulls in games where they're a Mississippi game where they let them back in it, or a South Carolina game where they just kind of let them hang around. So I think that's another point that Sean Miller probably started making yesterday with his team, is that just because you're at home, don't expect it. And he was pretty emphatic about he wants some help tomorrow night at Mui for the LSU game.
Yep, and we caught up with Coach Miller. He had a Monday media availability over Zoom. So here's a little bit from Coach Miller just talking ball. So here he is.
Winning does breed confidence. I think it breeds confidence in our fans as well. I think I'll go back to what I began with here today is, hoping we have a great environment and a home court advantage, really like is required in February in the SEC tomorrow night against LSU. It's a big game for us. In terms of the confidence, with our team, there's also that fine line between, you start to win and take it for granted. You start to get away from maybe things that got you on the initial win streak. And that is, your process, working hard, trying to get better, feeling like you're cornered, playing with an edge, trying to fix the problems that have plagued you in the past.
So there's Sean, and I confidence is a crazy thing, Roger. Like you can do a lot of things if you're confident. Obviously, their confidence is sky high right now with 4 wins in a row. Dalen Swain goes for 25-6 against the Tigers on the road. Modest Vokatitis 19-10, which obviously, if you're a 7-footer, you better be doing that, right? I mean, that's one of those things.
He's such a matchup problem.
He is,
and we saw Missouri get frustrated with him.
Yeah,
Missouri crowd got frustrated. He's a lot of arms and elbows and movement, and so he draws a lot of the ire because everybody thinks he should be the one that gets called for the foul every time, and that he's got a little Euro flop in him as well.
Right.
But he's a guy that he made some moves. He's starting to extend his game a little bit. He'll put it on the floor, and that can be scary when he decides that what he can't do, I think, is just hold the ball.
Right.
And he has a tendency, he holds it, and then he decides what move he wants to make. If it's one-on-one, he has a shot, but that's usually when they double down on him, and then that's when some bad things can happen.
Anytime a 7-footer wants to put the ball on the floor, people just kind of wince. Like, there's oh, maybe, no.
He has the skill to do it. He does, but he can get himself in a little trouble, too, when he's feeling himself.
Little bit. Yeah, just do with your back to the basket, big guy. I thought the play of Sim Wilcher and Nick Cody, they finally get Nick Cody gets some minutes at 15 minutes, 9 points in 15 minutes for him. Really is like only extended action of the season, save the first couple games of the year. And then Sim Wilcher is really turning it on lately. He's scoring in pockets, but he's scoring in big moments, Roger.
Yeah, Sim Wilcher, he's just got to cut down on those plays that make Sean Miller just beside himself with a bad pass, a lazy pass. Because, offensively we've seen he can create his own shot. He can knock down a three and get to the rim, all that stuff. He's just got to cut down on those errors and unforced errors. And Nick Cody, what a story. I mean, he was a starter early in the season, then disappeared. And you wonder then, again, kind of what we're talking about with Vic Schaefer and players, all of a sudden wondering, do I look for a new place? had to have crossed his mind over the last couple of months, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So 15 minutes, 4 of 5 from the field, 9 points without Lassina Traore, who's bothered by the knee situation. I don't know how much better that's going to get.
Right.
Sean Miller said he's day to day with the soreness. So yeah, they needed those minutes from Cody, and maybe the time he spent just working and watching has served him well.
Yeah, and we're all day to day, right?
We are. That's true.
But yeah, 9.6 boards in 15 minutes, not a bad shift for Nick there. So, oh man, I'm kind of excited about this men's team because earlier in the season, I was on the train where they'd be lucky if they got an invite to the NIT. But now, it seems like Sean Miller is he's starting to get all those transfer guys to play together to really kind of gel as a unit. And they, like I've been saying, they look more and more like a tournament team every single week. Every single week. So at home against LSU, the 17th, which is a Tuesday, we tip this on a Monday, and then on the road at Georgia, and then home against Florida, on the road at A&M, on the road Arkansas, at home against Oklahoma to end the SEC regular season and get ready for the tournament. So a lot of basketball have to be played.
They're not.
So we'll see. We'll
not
see,
out of
we'll
the
see how it
woods
shakes
yet
out. Yeah,
when it comes to all that, I mean they're
Right.
not listed as first buy or anything like that.
Right.
But they're not. The margin for error for them is still pretty slim because the record's not great and the non-conference wins are
they're
one.
Yeah.
NC State. Now he talked about Virginia and the fact that non-conference loss not looking quite as bad. Now the way it happened looked really bad.
The way it happened was not.
But Virginia's a really good team.
Right. Yeah, so we'll just have to see how it goes. And that final game of the regular season is March 7th, and then they'll have the tournament, and then we'll all figure out on Selection Sunday where they land. Now, it is the middle of February after all, so of course that means spring sports should start. That doesn't make any sense to me still, but here we are. The baseball team.
Well, you need a season, Billy.
I know. I know.
Not playing till August.
I know. They anyway. The Longhorns baseball team sweep UC Davis in their season opening series, 12-2 in the opener. That was a 7-inning game. 6-4 in the middle game, and then 9-1 on Sunday. We found out that Dylan Volantis, it doesn't matter what time of game or what inning he comes into the game, he's still a really good pitcher, Roger. He was named the SEC Pitcher of the Week for his performance in the finale. 7 innings, 8 strikeouts, 1 walk, 1 hit allowed. That lefty, he's good. He's real good.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see because there was some question on where he would be. So they put him in at the Sunday starter. If, in fact, he's a starter, a weekend guy, and as good as he is, do they move him to Friday?
Right.
And, Ruger Riojas got off to that shaky start Friday. Now that, opening night may be understandable.
Right.
Same for Luke Harrison the first inning on Saturday. Struggled with the strike zone. Both times Texas was down 1-0 when they came to bat. So, I don't know. There's a long way to go, but if Volantis is your best arm and he is, in fact, a weekend starter, I mean, you can argue that where he is on Sunday, that can be a great, okay, do we have a chance to sweep? Do we need a win to salvage? Is it for the series? You certainly can make an argument that you should keep him at 3, but traditionally, your best arm,
your ace is going to start
is your Friday night guy. Try to get you off to that good start, and that, I think maybe it'll also have to do with Riojas and Harrison moving forward. And this weekend, all of a sudden, maybe looks a little different than we thought with Michigan State, who did some damage against a ranked Louisville team over the weekend.
Yeah. We'll have to see about that. After the game on Sunday, Jim Schlossnagle said that Jason Flores would start on the mound against Lamar in their midweek game on Tuesday. He's going to want to get a lot of different guys in that game. But I wouldn't be surprised, Roger, if Schlossnagle tinkered with the weekend rotation a little bit and maybe tried Volantis on a Friday, or maybe tried Riojas on a Sunday, or just try to mix and match something to see how those players react, see how the team reacts, that kind of thing. So that's the beauty of all these non-conference games. Like you can get all that stuff ironed out. That's the whole point of them, is to get things ironed out so you can go into SEC play with a plan.
Yeah. Now, as I think about it in real time, I don't think you're going to start Volantis on Friday after a Sunday start against Michigan State. Well, then you go to Houston, and your toughest game might be on Sunday. That's when you play Coastal Carolina.
Yeah.
No, they play Saturday, right? They play Ohio State on Sunday.
Yeah, you're right. Yes.
But regardless, that's a different situation. That's 3 separate opponents, and that's maybe where Jim Schlossnagle and Max Weiner look, okay, if we're going to make this move, do we do it in Houston based on the teams they're playing, or if you just want to have Volantis ready, because then you're 2 weeks out from that Ole Miss series to open SEC.
Right.
We'll have a lot more idea. Maybe he just leaves it the way it is until he needs to make a move.
And actually, we were both mistaken. They open the Bruce Bolt College Classic with Coastal on Friday.
Okay, so there you go. That might be one where
maybe they try to go get that win with Volantis on the mound against the Chanticleers.
Yeah, and then do you move him to Saturday this weekend? And I know they don't like to break routine.
Sure.
And we may be overthinking this. He may say, we like him on Sunday, and we're going to leave him on Sunday.
Yeah. Yep. That could also happen. Of course, a couple of things I want to mention about baseball before we go to softball. Freshman Anthony Pack, he's hitting .545 in his first collegiate series. Is that good?
Yeah, and they didn't know if he'd start. Jonah Williams was most thought he would get the start, but maybe still a little nicked up. So talk about making the most of it.
Exactly. He's 6 for 11, 5 runs scored, a couple doubles, 8 total bases for the freshman outfielder. Ethan Mendoza, that guy, I have he's almost like he's got the stature of like an Altuve, a little taller. But man, seeing that guy hit that home run to dead center field,
packs a punch.
That was I couldn't get over that. Like that was impressive. Like when your second baseman clobbers a ball off the batter's eye at Dish Falk Field, he's done something. Like that homer was. I mean, I don't want to say it's Ivan Melendez like, but
let's not get carried away.
Given the situation, like it was a heck of a swing from him.
Yeah, and it's for Texas key that he's healthy again. And now you move Rodriguez to short with Becerra at third, and so A-Rod's off to a good start again. And then another one I'm sure you want to talk about, Aiden Robbins.
Man,
he kind of looks the part, doesn't he?
He's going to fit in he's going to fit in nicely.
He
in
looks
center
the
field.
part of an SEC player that everybody goes, hey, we need that guy on our. Big guy, he's physical, he's he gets fired up. I just Seton Hall. I can't imagine what that was like facing him
for real
in the Big East.
Yeah.
But we'll see. They got Lamar. It's a 5:00 game on Tuesday.
Yeah.
They're trying to make it so if you want to go both basketball and baseball, you can do it because basketball's a little later start at 8, so they'll get going at 5 on Tuesday and then back at it against Michigan State this weekend.
Yep, and I want to mention Casey Borba on the baseball team playing first base now. I know Schlossnagle talked about that after Sunday's game. His sort of move to the other corner. He'd always been on the left side of the infield. Is kind of Kimball Schuessler-esque a little bit. And, obviously Borba's got a ways to go for the defensive part, which Kimball was able to do tremendously, but kind of seems like sort of a similar scenario with Borba playing there. And I think Schlossnagle's going to be able to get the best out of him there.
Well, and he was an infielder, so, you like the fact that he's going to feel comfortable there.
Yeah.
But sure, it's, much different position, but, that's what fall baseball was for and all the things. And you want to keep that bat in the lineup as well. And he had a big off season physically, and I think he did a good job in kind of taking care of the strength and conditioning part of it too.
Yes.
And Rodriguez too.
Oh,
he looks a lot different.
Well, yeah, and with Rodriguez, he's got 2 working hands now, so that's good.
Helps.
That's good for him too. So Tuesday against Lamar, Jason Flores will start on the mound for the Longhorns, 5 p.m., and then a 3-gamer weekend series with Sparty from Michigan State. That's going to be at Dish Falk as well.
Yeah, I get those on this weekend, so I'm looking forward to that.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
Get to stay in town.
Yes, you get to stay home for a change. Yeah. Quickly, the softball team again really good. 9-1 overall. They go 5-0 in the Bevo Classic. They beat up on Abilene Christian, Ohio State, Syracuse, and Northern Illinois. I think the fun part of this this tournament was Katie Stewart hitting a homer off of her older sister against Northern
Yeah.
Illinois.
Yeah, and I read where her sister said, even though she hit a bomb, I'll still post it.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was a weekend that they had to dodge the weather and rearrange the schedules a little bit. They come out with the wins, and now it gets a little more real this weekend out in Palo Alto.
Yes, yeah, at the DeMarini Invitational at Stanford Softball Stadium. They've got 2 ranked opponents. They play Arizona twice, once on Friday and then once on Sunday. And then they play Stanford on Friday. That's a tough doubleheader on Friday, get 2 ranked teams like that.
Weather out there's been
right
miserable.
off the bat. I know, yeah.
So I don't know what the forecast is,
Yeah.
but they've gotten a lot of rain on the West
Yeah.
Coast. David Pierce early on, a baseball coach, he went to Stanford and had a big weather issue playing a series, and he said, "I'm not going back to California in February.
No.
It's too long of a trip," and everybody thinks, "Oh, California,
No.
great weather." Well,
Now the Bay,
that's not
man.
always the case,
Yeah.
especially in Northern California in February. But
Yeah.
hopefully they'll get all those games in.
Yep. And they've got Santa Clara and Boise State on Saturday as well. Alrighty, we will end this episode of the Horns Report right here. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. And for Roger Wallace, I'm Billy Gates, and we'll talk to you again very soon.